today is about iconic forwards that made a name while they played in the Premier League. And when you're talking about iconic forwards, these two names we're comparing today, they stand out among the crowd. And, it's no one else but Robin Van Persie and Fernando Torres. Van Persie made his name with Arsenal and then United, while Fernando Torres made his name at Liverpool, before he went on to Chelsea. So Victor, I know you might have, I know you might have a certain bias because, of course, you're a Liverpool fan, and yeah, I get that. But to start with, as we usually do, who was a better Premier League forward for you?
Van Persie. If you look at their best levels, I think they were very, very high in the case of both of them. But Van Persie enjoyed those levels for longer. Torres
Yeah,
was fantastic, but not for as long. And he couldn't reach those levels with two separate Premier League teams, whereas Van Persie did. Like he dragged Arsenal to some interesting finish lines, qualifying for the Champions League and so on, and then also won the title with United, which is something Gerrard kind of threw in his face as well. But yeah, the Torres Chelsea ended up buying that was not what it said on the tin. So I think that's why I'm going with Van Persie for this one.
okay, fair enough. For you, Max, who do you think was more influential in games?
Mm, I think it also goes to Van Persie, actually, because firstly, he won title, what Torres didn't do. Also, he succeed in different teams. Also, what Torres couldn't do because he was good only at Liverpool for me. At Chelsea, it was kind of mess. While Van Persie did great in both Liverpool. Oh, yeah, Liverpool. What am I saying? Arsenal and United. So yeah, I'd say Van Persie was better as well.
Wow, fair enough. I think I'm actually agreeing with you guys so far. And moving forward, Victor, who was more complete in between both players?
I need to go with Van Persie as well here, but it's really fine margins. There are a couple of differences because if you look at how their careers started, he, Van Persie was injured a lot in his early years,
Yeah,
and Torres, meanwhile,
Atletico.
he made this debut with Atletico in the second Spanish league, amazingly enough. But he made his debut with Atletico at 17, played consistently for them. He became their captain at 19 years of age, and then played consistently for Liverpool later on as well. However, if you look at Van Persie, despite missing a fair bit of these formative years, I think Van Persie was more complete as a forward. What was great about Torres, though, in his prime for Liverpool, he always had that sort of lackadaisical attitude on the pitch a little bit. He just seemed to stroll about and then explodes and scores two goals from running through a channel and having half a chance. So that that bit goes rather to Torres, but as for which one was the more complete, I would still say Van Persie.
Mhm. Fair point. And Max, who would you rather have in your team, Van Persie or Torres?
Yeah, it's actually fun because if we talk about their prime, I'd probably go with Torres actually. But overall,
Wow.
as a player, I'll probably go with Van Persie. So it depends.
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, That's a very diplomatic answer. I see. Fair enough. Victor, who would you have in your team?
I would say Torres as well, but like proper prime Torres, Liverpool's Torres.
Yeah.
Um, as I said earlier, he had this unassuming nature about him. He did not seem to do much. As a defender, he lulled you into a sense of security, and then he blows past you and makes you look foolish. I mean, if you look at that demolition job at Old Trafford in 2009, the 4-1 win for Liverpool, he made Vidic his bitch. Okay, Vidic was one of the best defenders at the time
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
stood no chance against Torres. And Torres didn't seem like he was breaking much of a sweat.
Yeah.
So as a manager, I know this is my Liverpool bias kicking in a little bit, but I love that about the player, the X factor and the unpredictability. So I would probably pick him, even though, as I said, Van Persie was probably the more complete player, but Torres was more my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah, I think I sort of agree with you guys when it comes to the X factor. I feel like from Persie, you just know that okay, anyways, it's going to strike that ball. It's ball shooting. He had a wicked left foot. But when it comes to the complete game, somebody that can give you something all around, even a striker that can still play like a link-up play and do a lot, I think Torres edged it there for me. So I think I'll go with what Mark said. Like, while I think Van Persie was overall the better finisher, I would rather go with Torres in my team. While I think it was a better finisher, but as if I was to pick one, I mean, I would rather just go with Torres. So yeah, that's it for that question. And then on the final note, Victor, which of their playing styles would have suited modern football better?
Hmm. What I say now might be a bit controversial, but I think neither of them would have a fantastic career in today's football.
Wow.
Uh, it seems to me like defenders, even at mid-table level, and especially in the Premier League, where defenses are better than in most other leagues, defenders are savvier nowadays than they were 15 years ago, and finishing ability alone is not enough for a striker anymore. In a more possession-based system, I think Van Persie would fit, but I have my doubts about whether he could hit those heights in terms of being among the elite players. If you look at the Haalands and the Salahs of the world, um, at the same time, if you're a more counter-attacking focused coach, I think Torres thrived more in situations like that. But teams at the absolute top of the game today only resort to tactics like that in certain matches. It's not their main style of play week in, week out. So, yeah, I think both of them would do all right in the Premier League today, but they would not light it up like how one would think they would.
Yeah, fair enough. Max, what do you think about that?
Uh, yeah, I think Torres would fit a bit better, but as Victor said, I don't think they would be this great nowadays.
Yeah, funny enough, I think the same too, because I think nowadays strikers are usually made to work harder in quotes for for service, except you're lucky enough to play for City, except you're lucky enough to play for City. And then how many teams in the world can give you service like Haaland would get? But the average striker now has to work hard for service, and Van Persie thrived on good service. It was not that hard worker that would go back and hustle for the ball and stuff.
Yeah,
So if it was,
exactly. I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, but
sure, sure.
imagine either of them trying to play Roberto Firmino's role.
Nah, they can't do that. They will suffer. They would suffer.
Exactly.
So yeah, none of them. I think they did not have those attributes, those fighting attributes and flexibility to survive in modern day football, which is actually true. So yeah, I think I would lean towards what Victor said that both of them might actually struggle. Well, I think Torres might slightly have it better, slightly. But yeah, both of them would actually struggle in modern day football. So yeah, I think it was actually pretty straightforward from all three of us. We're leaning towards Van Persie as the better forward between Fernando Torres. And as usual, we'd like to hear what our viewers think about this. Van Persie versus Fernando Torres. Who was the better forward? Who was more influential in games? And of course, who would you rather have in your team? But looking forward to hearing from you guys. And of course, we'll be here to give you more interesting Premier League debate in our subsequent episode.